And come one, come all, welcome to the Identity 5 NAEU Summer Tournament. We are going to be your casters. I'm Articuno.
And I'm Sierra.
And things are going to be very exciting. It looks like you need a glass of water, Miss Sierra.
Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah, we'll get you one after this match. But of course, we're going to have to bear with it for now because we are broadcasting and
Yeah.
I cannot see anything once again.
Ooh, looks like you're a survivor right now.
Yeah,
Well, if you're gonna be a survivor since this is my last day.
Yep.
Ooh, which one you're gonna be?
I think I'm gonna be a new survivor. You know how they have their respective titles like
Yes.
Mechanic and Lucky Guy
Mhm.
and
How about you?
Gardener. I'm loser.
No, don't say that.
No,
Don't say that.
like-
You're a good human being, Yeah.
Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about our tournament right here. So for those of you that have just tuned in, this is competitive Identity 5 that we will be witnessing for the North American European region. Very, very exciting.
Yes.
And based on our format these past few days, we have been playing. Actually, you know what? Why don't you do the honors, Ms. Seor, on what our tournament format is for our new viewers out there that have just tuned into what is going on here.
Yeah, so for this tournament, we will be having a best of one, meaning there will be no bans, but even that being said, each team gets to have a chance to become a hunter and a survivor. And of course, for the quarterfinals onwards, which you will be there, unfortunately I won't be there, they will be having a best of threes. And again, this is a single elimination. So yeah, we'll be seeing some action.
Some action.
Yeah, action.
Mhm. And take note, guys, with how the point system goes. So how does competitive Identity 5? So for each game that we have, both teams get to play the survivor as well as hunter side.
Yeah.
And how we point this is it basically escalates. The more survivors you get out the gate, the more points you get if you're a survivor. The more, as a hunter, the more survivors you take down, the more points that you get. And of course, we start from 0. Let's say
To
if you're on the
hero.
survivor side, 0 points for if no survivors make it out. Then it escalates 1, 2, 3 if 3 survivors make it out. Now, if all survivors make it out alive, now instead of 4 points, you get that 1 extra point, which is why in this case you always want to try to go for the perfect score,
Yep.
just so that you have a lot more points to work with. But you know what? We're going to hold off from that discussion because we will be heading into round 1 for our first match of the day. Of course, it is going to be Alpha and Omega, our reigning representatives from the North
Yes.
American region, last call of the Abyss 2 Global Finals, and they will be going up against BC.
Yes, and for this first half of the round 1, they will be Alpha and Omega will be the hunters right here, and they will be using the Soul Weaver, and looks like it's gonna be Call Me Duty who's gonna be on their hunter side. For the side of BC, they will be having the Seer, the Mechanic, the Perfumer, and finally the Mercenary. And if you notice from the past days that we've been broadcasting, these 4 are usually used, and of course, Mercenary and Perfumer, you can see them very recently together, and with that Mechanic, you just have to get that Cypher Rush going. And with the Seer, that Seer can actually be a good kiter rescuer. Actually, he's a well-balanced type of character, so it's no surprise that we'll be seeing that in the hands of BC for this round 1.
And looking at what survivors BC is bringing to the table, definitely playing up to quintessential meta. Seer, Mechanic, Perfumer, as well as the Mercenary, very high up in what is usually prioritized here in competitive play. And I think for Alpha and Omega's Hunter, definitely has his work cut out for him.
And just like what we've been saying for the past few days, the Soul Weaver is very, very advantageous to smaller maps and taking advantage of all the cobwebs that she can use and utilize, especially in mazes and in kiting areas that can actually turn the sides onto her favor. But the thing here is that the Perfumer here has a very, very high win rate. So it's no question that this Perfumer is in the S tier. Well, in my opinion, though.
So, nonetheless, looks like we are going to be heading into our game. Once again, ladies and gents, first round of the day, Alpha and Omega on the Hunter side and BC on the Survivor side. Of course, for Alpha and Omega, it will be CM Judy on duty and on the hunt right now, already finding his first target.
Yes, and if I'm not mistaken, it's gonna be that mercenary over here, and of course, him being the first one to be spotted out, it's going to be his main priority to go to this kiting area. But Call Me Duty knows better, and targeting the mercenary at an early game is not really that efficient because the mercenary has elbow pads to escape with, and the target of that mercenary is to kite away. And of course, looking here, getting and seeing a hunter nearby, the mechanic is the first one to be targeted.
Yes, Rain 325, definitely one of the more optimal targets that CM Judy wants to go for here. Of course, going to be dropping that pallet by a bit of time. Rain 325, but looks like gap is closing.
Ooh.
Looks like Seer will be bringing the owl to the table. But then again, CM Judy already getting that first hit.
Yes, and that was a very good reflexes for the Seer. Ooh, but taking advantage of that vaulting by the mechanic on the wrong side, looks like he would be terror shocked and be seated on a rocket chair as early as this game. But you know, this is not yet over because BC is doing a pretty good job just while the mechanic was kiting, just doing that decoding, and now prioritizing. You know, Call Me Duty knows that the mercenary here is the main rescuer, so eventually he will be coming into the aid of that mechanic like what we see right now.
And there you go. Man, oh man, CM Judy just doing a lot of work here. Of course, the save will be coming in, but the last effort will be popped as well.
Yes, but of course, thanks to the tide turner that the mercenary has, this gives the mechanic a few seconds to distance herself from the rocket chair, and the mercenary just absorbing a hit, you know, to body block that mechanic over it so that she won't be able to get knocked down easily. But this is a good call for Call Me Duty because the priority to get that mechanic and secure that first skyrocket survivor to take down that one is just really, really efficient for him right now.
And there you go. Second strap there onto the chair. Let's go ahead and see positioning for the rest of BC right now. That is definitely going to be a little bit of a slowdown. Of course, CM Judy going to maybe proceed. No, we'll be leaving Anthony to just kneel down for now. Going to be capitalizing on Rain 325 already near taking off. Of course, Sally will be trying to go for the save here as well as a perfumer, but projectile will be landing, and massive play coming in from CM Judy. Just so much work being done. Anthony gonna be going for the save this time around, but there you go. Team Rocket is blasting off in the form of this mechanic, and he goes out. Looks like CM Judy gonna go for his next prey.
That was a beautiful blink by Call Me Duty right there, just putting on the timing to get that, to go close with the range of that perfumer, knowing that it was in an immersed state. But since Call Me Duty knew better, but you know, the perfumer did a really good job in buying time, and that was a very nice attempt to actually rescue the mechanic and mercenary as well. You know, the mercenary was aware that the perfumer was in danger and won't be able to make it in time, so he went to his aid, tried his best, but unfortunately the mechanic already skyrocketed and was taken down. And now looking at what Call Me Duty is doing right now, just using that movement speed and being aware of the surroundings near the perfumer, and the best one to actually rescue her is the Seer right here, and a Blah Blah is actually on the way there, just absorbing some hits and potentially going into the aid of Sally.
Yes, of course, with Rain 325 strapped to that rocket chair. Oh, rather, Sally 0909 strapped to the rocket chair. Both survivors needing to commit to try to go for that save. They want to get as many survivors out of that gate as possible, which is why they are committing members, even though it may halt the deciphering of rather the coding of these ciphers.
Yes, that was a good turn for Call Me Duty right there to actually do some sort of 360 right there just to get into the range of the perfumer. And Mercenary though is quite commendable for this game because he's been getting all the hits. He's been doing those body blocks very sufficiently to buy time. But you know, the Soul Weaver right here knows better. And you know, just look at that priority coming from there, and just now, you know, you observed something, right? You saw something.
I mean, that was a bit unfortunate right there. But with both survivors down for the count, that does make you wonder. Looks like CM Judy will make his way towards Anthony. But overall, just based on this performance, I am very, very impressed.
Yes, of course. And take note that this battle is happening at the Sacred Heart Hospital, which is a very advantageous map for the Soul Weaver here. Just if you could just see right now, utilizing the walls and getting the cobwebs, and for
Ooh.
that hit, a beautiful side hit for Call Me Duty.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, both Seer and Mercenary, the last surviving survivors, have been taken down, and CM Judy will get the perfect sweep off of this game. If I'm not mistaken, as far as what we have broadcasted so far, this is the first game that we're seeing on stream where the
Okay.
Hunter manages to take down all 4 survivors.
Yes, and this is also the first broadcast that we get to see AO actually play. But I would like to commend BC there because BC did a very good job in delaying the time that they needed. It was just unfortunate that they were hit by in the range of the Soul Weaver and was not able to escape in time that
Yeah.
it was initially opted to be.
And I don't know. I'm just I'm very impressed by the performance that we saw from Alpha and Omega's Hunter there. And still, though, you got to give props to BC survivors. But I guess this is something that I did want to touch on earlier, wherein you have to take note. ANO, they did represent North America in the North American and European server at the Lost Call of the Abyss 2 Global Finals, and there's just something as a team, of course, like regardless, let's say if there are switches up to the roster or whatnot, but with the players which have that international experience, that experience is something that people tend to discount sometimes, because when you have that kind of experience, you at least have that feel of how competitive really is, especially when you're going up against some of the best in the world, in fact. And not just that, by going through the entire process of the global finals, it also ignites that fire in a way where, okay, we've reached this point already. We want to keep it consistent. We want to continue to push for the glory that we were able to achieve during the previous season. And I think A&O definitely one of the teams that is very, very hungry in pushing for just that. But you know what? We are going to be heading into round 2. The draft is already up, as you see on your screens. It will be BC this time on the switcheroo. But interesting enough, we'll be pushing for the Clown and Alpha and Omega, if you would do the honors.
Yes, and for the side of BC, they will be using Smiley Face, or more likely known as the Clown here, and Blah Blah is going to use that. And from the previous patches, the Clown is still considered to be a destructive kind of hunter, even though it's not in the S tier. In my personal opinion, it's still considered as an A tier because the movement speed that he gives, especially with his rockets, is exceptional. For the side of AO, we will be seeing the Seer, the Perfumer, the Mechanic, and the Mercenary once again. But I would just like to add up what you said a while ago. AO is doing a pretty good job. They are really known, especially internationally, right?
Right.
But it takes guts to actually fight against someone who is very well experienced, and that is BC right there. Articuno. It really the high praises I would really give it to BC right here because it really takes a lot to fight someone like Alpha and Omega.
Yeah, but you know what, ladies and gents, we are heading into the action right now. It is BC once again on the Hunter side and Alpha Omega on the Survivor side, already getting a lot of work right here. Of course, Blah Blah going to speed his way through, going to try to look for his first target, and looks like already sniffed something out. We'll be running into you momentarily. I want nobody but you.
Yeah, get it, the K-pop jokes, Articuno.
Yeah, I'm not sure if everybody will get that, but for those that do, probably cringed right at this moment.
Yes, but going back, Blah Blah is doing a good job taking advantage of the infinite rocket right there and spotted his first target, which is the Mercenary, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it's the Mercenary. And, the Mercenary knows better, takes time, but that beautiful blink manages to... Ooh, a good attempt for Blah Blah there, but unfortunately wasn't able to hit the Mercenary. Oh, actually, he did. It was just the delayed effect that wasn't able to see it properly right now. And now again, using his skills in the early game to catch up with you is something you need to look out for.
And there you go. Let's go ahead and check out status of everyone on the map, because AO just really utilizing their time well. Of course, Blah Blah will be managing to spot out Schmitty here. We'll go around the structure, going to try to predict which direction Schmitty will be going, but there we have it. Pallet has been popped up to buy time for Schmitty here, establish some distance between him and this clown.
Yes, and if you notice that usually they drop down the pallets when the hunter is near, but it would be more efficient over here on the side because when you're facing a smiley face, you don't really want to get rocketed to infinity and beyond. And that's why it's better to like drop the pallets to buy time for blah blah here to destroy it. And that looking at here again, Schmitty's doing a pretty good job utilizing this kiting area here because it's one of the strongest.
And looks like, ooh, Schmitty is buying so much time here. Blah blah has been working hard to try to close that gap just so that he could get that first hit. But gotta say, just overall great job. I love how Schmitty has been utilizing a lot of these structures, just vaulting over back and forth, left and right. And look at how efficient this is for A&O, already down to their last Cypher. So you have to take note, the win condition here, ladies and gentlemen, for BC to force a tiebreaker, because that's the only thing they could force at this point, with the survivor, or rather because of the hunter of Alpha and Omega getting the perfect score earlier. It's either tiebreaker or nothing. And with one Cypher remaining, that's going to be a tall order that Blah Blah needs to force here.
Yes, and that's good. A pretty good Cypher rush for A&O here, and Perfumer just priming this Cypher, waiting to actually be popped up. But you know, I just observed just recently, this is like a mirror fight because BC was using the same lineup of characters here, and now Alpha and Omega is doing the same thing. And Blah Blah here again trying to catch up with Schmitty here, but Schmitty just knowing the dangers that lurk goes to the most strongest kiting area, which is here on the hospital and near. But Schmitty knew better and was able to stun the hunter here. But Blah Blah not giving up just yet and just trying to get up and catching the tail of Schmitty here.
Yeah, and ooh, there you go, vault over once again. Blah Blah, gotta give kudos to him nonetheless. Been trying his hardest, but it's just super duper hard with what the survivors of AO are bringing into the table in terms of efficiency with how they played out this game. Just very, very impressive overall. And I think with all said and done, all members of AO will be making their way out of the game.
Unless a Blah Blah here attempts to do clutch gaming here, and the robot does a pretty good job there to just body block. And like what you said, a clean sweep for Alpha and Omega.
Yes, but nonetheless, we'd also like to give our congratulations to BC for making it this far into the tournament. I mean, just the fact that you're able to proceed rounds, that already shows promise and potential. And I guess at the end of the day for these teams, it really comes down to the mindset of what you make of this experience. Like we mentioned, this is a great platform in preparation for the bigger things to come in the Identity 5 esports scene. So
yeah,
great job.
I mean, I couldn't really blame the clown right there, because if you notice, he was just banging through the walls, and I think that's just a sort of an issue. And but you know, facing, like what we said a while ago, facing one of the international teams in Call of the Abyss is, and plus the pressure of supposedly having a clean sweep is kind of a nerve-wracking, you know? Because if I was in the position of Blah Blah right there, I would be wreak havoc right now.
Yeah, I mean,
and kudos, you know, the confidence to do it and the courage too to actually face those strong teams are really, really exceptional, and I really, really commend you guys all. And please teach me how to be a good Identity 5 player. Yeah, because I'm no way as better as them.
I mean, there's like I said, there's a reason why we're here on the desk in the first place and not competing with the rest of these guys. And it's not just because we're not on their server.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah, teach us. Okay, but nonetheless, congratulations once again to Alpha and Omega. Really looking forward to more of those games. At least, you know, from what we saw, that was already
intense.
A great preview of what to expect as they proceed further in this tournament. But ladies and gentlemen, we still have more Identity 5 action coming your way when we come back. It's going to be our next match. We actually have a good number of matches today, so definitely a great day to tune in for some IDV. We have been your casters. I'm Mark Takuno.
And I'm Ciara.
And this is the Identity 5 NA and EU Summer Tournament. We'll see you guys in a teeny tiny bit.
Poo.
And welcome back, detectives, to the Identity 5 NAEU Summer Tournament. We are your casters. I'm Mark Takuno.
And I'm Ciara.
Earlier, we just came from our first match of the day where Alpha and Omega, in a very convincing fashion, managed to beat the opposition. But of course, we're going to be heading into a different game this time around. Of course, this is only match 2. We have a total of 4 matches that'll be happening today. So definitely a lot more than what we had over the previous weekends. You know, just to make up for a little bit of the craving that some of you might have had for some competitive Identity 5.
And that was like since last week.
Yeah, since last week.
Yeah, we're like craving it as much as you do. But for now, we will be witnessing for the second round Team TC or Terror Cock versus Lovers.
Yeah, so TC.
What's it?
Yeah. I was just gonna say the abbreviation, but you had to go all the way.
Well, it is what it says, so might as well, right?
Just because that's what it says doesn't mean you have to read it.
Well, it's for the new ones are here,
Everybody can read. So
I know it's just, it's there. So
I'm kidding. Anyways, with this game right here, quick review of how this tournament goes once again. So this is a single elimination tournament, and as we go along, once we hit those later rounds, we are going to be hitting bigger best of 3s. But of course, for today, we will consistently be sticking to these best of 1s, which is why things are all the more crucial. No bans on the table. And in addition, as far as points, for those of you that are new to competitive Identity 5, we base it off of the number of survivors that make it off the gate. And then on the flip side, with how many survivors the hunter does manage to take out. So it pretty much goes in ascent. 0 survivors equals 0 points, and all the way up. The difference is if ever you manage to take down all survivors, or if all survivors make it out the gate, instead of 4 points, you get that 1 extra point, which rounds it up to a total of 5 points. And of course, with these teams right here, that's that they want to aim for. And I think from what we saw during match 1 earlier, it's very important that you try to pull that off, just so that you have a lot more to work with going into the other game once you start switching sides. Because once you get a perfect score, it pretty much puts the other team in a situation where they can't really go for a full win condition. It's either you force a tiebreaker or you miss out entirely.
which is what the target of every team that's competing here is doing. And before we go on to our draft, there is a prize pool at stake here. So the winners won't be going home empty-handed, for they get a chance to win $3,000.
Yes, indeed. So, ladies and gents, fasten your seatbelts for some Identity 5 right here. A lot of great teams here coming in from NAEU. Like we said, this is a great platform for a lot of these competitive teams to prepare for what's in store as the months go along, especially for what every competitive Identity 5 player, I'd say, dreams of. As far as what they want to check off their bucket list as a competitive player, which is to make it all the way to this global finals known as Call of the Abyss.
Yes, and we just witnessed like one team that was actually in the Call of the Abyss 2, and if you did miss it out, it was Alpha and Omega. But I've been reading a while ago during the break that they were actually looking forward for this particular day because we are seeing big names, big clans, like for example right now. But here we are gonna proceed into the selection phase between Terror, and Lovers.
TC, Senora, TC.
Okay, TC. All right. And which TC will be the hunter here again using the Soul Weaver. And of course, for the side of Lovers, I'm liking that team name Lovers here. And we have the Mercenary, the Perfumer, the Mind's Eye this time, and the Seer. So it's a pretty similar draft on the last match, except that instead of a mechanic, it's a Mind's Eye.
Yeah, and just to highlight what you said, you like that name, Lovers?
Lovers.
Not for us single people, unfortunately. Probably for you that has somebody special in their life. But for us that are single,
what?
lay off. No, but yeah, from what we're seeing here, you did highlight that it will be the Mind's Eye. We haven't really been seeing as much Mind's Eye. I'd still say it is viable. It pretty much comes down to when you're looking at competitive, you'd want to utilize what is much more up there in meta in terms of what could guarantee you a better game. But this is something that we also discussed during the previous weekend, where it doesn't necessarily have to lean towards what is full on up there, high up in whatever ranking you put characters in. Sometimes you ideally want to stick to something that could be up to comfort, or you feel that sure, maybe there's a meta pick that is great, but you'd also want to utilize the alternative instead because that's what you're confident in using. So we'll just have to see how that plays out for the lovers here.
I agree with you because the mind's eye here is pretty tricky to use, and it takes like long and hard practice to actually get the hang of this mind's eye, because this specific character can see through walls, and that's a very good thing. But of course, without further ado, let's get it on to the match right here, and we are in the perspective of the hunter, which is nobody.
I knew you were about to. So here you go, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, for those of you that just tuned in, we are currently into our second match of the day, round one between TC on the hunter side and lovers on the survivor front. Of course, from what we're seeing, nobody already finding his first target in the form of Anani on this here. Question is, will he try to pursue or will he switch around?
He will
out
be
the mercenary,
switching,
but
yeah.
won't be going for it, of course.
Yup, he will be switching because Mercenary here, like what I said, is the main rescuer. So the Soul Weaver here, we've been seeing a lot of Soul Weavers, but again, the Soul Weaver here's main target is to get the decoders. And of course, initially you would go for the Mind's Eye, but since your target here is the Seer, of course it's better to go and lock yourself in than to none at all. Oh, that was a good owl by Anani there, just in time. Because you don't really want to give the first hit to the hunter because the presence is very, very essential.
So here we go. Anani still pretty much going around, of course, from what we saw earlier. Oh, actually, one hit right there. But yeah, the Mind's Eye was in the vicinity as well. But since Anani was kind of playing around that area, decides to shift to a different one. Doesn't want to get caught up in that cat and mouse space. But oh no, that's going to be the first hit right there, just as he tries to drop that pallet. And nobody will succeed. Prey found.
I like the way that the Soul Weaver here took the opportunity to hit the Seer when he was at the wrong side of the pallet first. That's why he was injured. And the next thing here, just taking advantage of using the hitbox that he had, and was just in time to hit the Seer before he actually put the pallet down. And now again, like any other mercenary out there, it's main rescuer with the same skin as the plushie, and now absorbs the hit and goes for the rescue.
So there you go, that's going to be the save, but last effort will be popped up though. So looks like nobody already pretty much intent on who he needs to go for already. No need to dilly-dally towards other people.
The Tide Turner is a good way to delay and give a few seconds for the Seer to actually buy time for the Hunter. But take note that Lovers is doing a pretty good job because the Seer's being targeted, the Mercenary is on the right to the rescue, the Mind's Eye and the Perfumer is doing the Cypher and the decoding. And you know that if you leave this Mind's Eye behind, it's gonna get pretty tricky because the Cypher Rush, the decoding speed is intense.
And it looks like nobody, definitely going to play it more defensive here, will be guarding Anani, but not without at least scouting around the area as well. Looks like we are already seeing a survivor making his way to try to go for that save. Definitely don't want to lose out on Anani here, especially since he's not really going to be long twisted. He's actually getting the first hit. Will a second come in? Yes, unfortunately. And looks like that will be the first skyrocket out as Anani is out of the game. Twisted means going to be the next on the rocket ship.
Yeah, and this Soul Weaver, let's say, occupied too much of the space of that entrance of the garden right there so that the Perfumer was not able to actually pass through. But the good thing here is that at least if the Perfumer is seated on the rocket chair, this gives time for the Mind's Eye to actually focus on decoding. The Mercenary here has to do a very risky rescue. Knowing that he is injured, it's a good deal to actually rescue the Perfumer in a nick of time, and with that, the Mind's Eye will be using her presence to actually distract this Soul Weaver, but the Terror Shock here is just good abusing the slow vaulting speed of the Mind's Eye.
Yeah, and of course, nobody already sniffing out what was the strategy that Lovers was going to go for as far as the stave, as far as trying to utilize that distraction, instantly teleports back to check out the status of the Perfumer. It does look like, however, that Mercenary will opt for maybe finishing the last Cypher, at least making it ready in case. But here's the tricky thing. He has to weigh in. Does he try to go for saves here, or does he at least try to guarantee one survivor off the gate just so that they have a little bit more to work with come the next round?
Yes, and so we are now seeing that nobody here is again targeting the Mind's Eye and use the self-healing here, which is a good thing because it buys the time for the Mercenary to prime the remaining Cypher. But again, if you just look over there. The Mind's Eye is not a very efficient kiter simply because her vaulting speed is not that quick. And now nobody was aware of that and just use it to her potential to Terror Shock the Mind's Eye.
Meanwhile, Femme Fatale here, like trying to make his way through
the dungeon.
Decisions are definitely something that we want to look at here for the Lovers. Will Femme Fatale try to risk a save, or will this Mercenary just ultimately try to go for an open gate?
Yeah, about that, we are seeing that the Mercenary here is going as far away from the Mind's Eye as possible. But again, the Mind's Eye already used the self-healing. He has to tap her up just to get up, right? And we just saw that the dungeon is in the area of the Mind's Eye, and he has to work his way through to initially go near her, tap her, and potentially kite once more, just enough so that the Mind's Eye can go and prime the Cypher. But again, here, utilizing the map is actually pretty strong here for the kiting, and the Mercenary is doing a good job, but nobody here is catching up. He's catching up with the Mercenary here. Oh, wow.
That is unfortunate. Nobody getting that hit onto Femme Fatale. And ladies and gents, it is going to be a perfect takedown here for TC as they take 5 points off of this first round. Very well played out right here. I will still give kudos to the Lovers, though, because it was fairly playing out at a decent pace. It's just that towards the end game, that's where things got really, really tricky. But I give it much more credit to how that spider was played out.
Yeah, and like what we always say, even though the Soul Weaver here is a one gigantic spider, a big bug, if you ask me, the Soul Weaver here is a very good job at being aware on the transitioning of that Mercenary, taking advantage by putting cobwebs to narrow down the options for kiting is something that you cannot really do overnight. And that was a good thing for nobody. But at the same time, like what you said, like you mentioned a while ago, Lovers did it in a good pace. The decoding speed was good. They narrowed it down to a single cipher. It's just that I think the tables turned when the Perfumer was terror shocked in attempt to save the Perfumer.
Yeah,
I mean, who was the first one? Who was again? Oh, the Seer. The Seer, yeah.
So there you have it, guys. That was just round one. So let's go ahead and talk about the win condition here. Since TC had managed to pull those 5 points, it forces Lovers in a position where it's not really a full win condition where they could win this full match. They have to force that tiebreaker by getting 5 kills. Oh, no, not 5 kills, but 5 points rather. 5 points in this round once again. So again, lots of pressure, and this is one of the scenarios that you have to work against when you're playing in these best of ones.
Yes, a lot of pressure, but at the same time, a big challenge as well, because this is where you take your game and step it up a notch. You know, this is where you can see how much you've improved as a player. You know, and this is a good opportunity for the Hunter of the Lovers to show it out, because like what you said, like we all say, this is additional pressure for Lovers since they have to make a clean sweep for that potential tiebreaker. But you know, it's too early to conclude because anything can happen right here, especially if it's really, really unexpected.
Exactly. So, ladies and gents, for those of you that are tuned in right now, welcome once again to the Identity 5 NAEU Summer Tournament. Of course, this is one of the tournaments that we get to see NA and EU on a great platform
Yeah.
for competitive play. The last time we did see a team on this biggest stage was during Call of the Abyss 2 Global Finals, but
Yes.
that's like a mix of countries, and that was one representative coming in from any EU. So it's great to have this platform where we get to see all the teams this time around, not just for us to witness, but of course, as we were discussing earlier, this also gives the teams themselves the opportunity to prepare for what's ahead. But looks like we will be heading into the draft right here as reflected on your screen. So it will be the
Yep.
Lovers on the Hunter front versus TC for the Survivors.
Yes, and of course, for the Lovers, they will be using the Ripper. Again, the Ripper here is one of the top priority hunters. And of course, alongside with that was the Dream Witch and the Soul Weaver. For the side of TC, we have the Seer, the Perfumer, and surprisingly, the Magician. Finally, the Mercenary. So, this is a very defensive kind of draft. The Magician here is very efficient when it comes to decoding. He has enough decoding speed. The drawback here is that if he is seated on a rocket chair, it takes time for him to be rescued. And the Mercenary, I'm pretty sure he is very well aware of that. And he has to take into consideration when this Ripper will be able to execute his Foggy Blades and his hits to time it all off to potentially save the Magician if seated. But at the same time, we are seeing, like what I said, defensive. The Seer here with the extra shield can take up to 2 to 3 hits, depending if the owl is timely placed. And the Perfumer here can play mind games with her immersed state, which can also be beneficial to buy some time. For the Mercenary, we all already know this, but again, I'll just repeat it for you. The main Rescuer, with the help of the delayed hit effect.
So, looks like we will be heading into the game once again. Ladies and gents, it is Lovers on the Hunter side with a lot that they need to pull off if they want to stay in the game. Whilst TC, quite a bit to work with. But, oh man, for Mercenary though, already getting caught out. Of course, as we mentioned, not really going to be the optimal target that the Hunter will be looking for. There's definitely a lot more prey that is worth pursuing in this early game.
Yes, and you know, the coding cipher that Perfumer's doing is past 30%, and it already gives the sign for the Ripper here because the antenna is shaking. And now the Perfumer's job is to buy time this time for the other teammates. But was injured, but with the help of the Perfume, was able to reset what the Ripper was actually doing. And in now utilizing once more the kiting potential in the map, and that was a good Perfume for the Perfumer.
Slightly short right there, but it looks like the Perfumer is still pretty much up and running. The chase between cat and mouse is on. Oh, okay, there you go. First hit. Finally going to be landing out there for our Perfumer. Of course, Perfumer going to be playing around with the Syrian, bolting back and forth, but unfortunately the second hit will be coming in as he falls to the surrender.
Taking advantage of the Perfumer being on the wrong side of the pallet, knocked him down and just dragging him on to the rocket chair for his first potential secure takedown. And of course, being said, the Mercenary is on the way to rescue. I'ma be a hero, the Mercenary says right here. And just being stealthy, just, you know, walking up, just the blood won't be able to be seen by the Ripper. But the Ripper is very good at making visions right here. Uses the elbow pads, closening the gap to the Perfumer, waits to absorb a hit. Like,
Oh, no.
no, that was actually tricky. So the Mercenary was able to save the Perfumer, but with the help of the delayed hit effect, he will not be knocked down anytime soon. And if you're seeing the countdown right here, he's just widening up his distance. And now the Perfumer here is being chased by the Ripper, again going into the graveyard because this is a good place to kite. And the Foggy Blade was so close, but wasn't enough to hit the Perfumer.
Yes, Perfumer definitely trying to buy as much time here, but will be falling once again. By the count, 2 ciphers remaining that TC needs to work on. There's nonetheless, even with this Perfumer down, as well as the Mercenary, they're making great progress in this game. Definitely trying to make the most of what time is being fought. Of course, Mercenary will be coming up once again with this Perfumer. Question is, will they try to go for the save? Technically, they
Will be.
have a little bit more
Yeah.
room to work with because they do have those perfect 5 points. So they can pretty much afford to lose out on a survivor or two. But of course, you want to utilize this opportunity to
Yes.
still get the practice of all full 5 survivors out. But from what we're seeing here from the Hunter, from Lovers, definitely not going to be allowing it just so easy. And the Terror Shock actually comes in once again as the Mercenary falls, and looks like that Perfumer will be blasting off.
And that is actually pretty good because, like what you said, they could still afford like one takedown, like 3 survivors. But still, this is where you put your best foot forward. And that is pretty essential for the side of TC here. And the Mercenary wasn't able to apply his delayed hit effect already because it already was triggered once. And now, All For One doing a pretty good job in just taking control of the other survivors. And that was, again, another beautiful Terror Shock for All For One here. Utilizing the vaulting speed is really enough for him to hit him.
Yeah, take note, the Magician already making his way towards the Seer. And this is actually great for the Hunter because if you notice the positioning, both rocket chairs, at least earlier, where both survivors were strapped, are within near distance of each other. So it doesn't really have to traverse long paths just to keep track of where these survivors are at. But there you go, Waffle's going to be trying to utilize that pallet over there. Looks like just walking around. We'll be taking that first hit. Goes for the save there, and they are on the run.
That is a good point for the Magician right here, absorbing the hit to rescue the Seer, but the Ripper knows better and targets the Seer with that turnaround to get into that range for the hitbox. And again, the Seer's already been seated. It's best if you prioritize that one to get another takedown. And now the Magician and Mercenary here are both injured. The best thing they have to do is to heal. But in this case, we are seeing that the Mercenary is near the area, so it's difficult for them to heal each other. The Magician, however, is far enough to actually decode another one because there's one Cypher remaining.
Ooh, there you go. Foggy Blades comes in, but with that Mercenary trying to draw around here, just waiting for that last Cypher, in which case we'll try to go for the save here, and actually does manage to get him off of that rocket chair. They are on the run once again. And of course, this Hunter already needs one strike left, but wait a minute, the pop-up actually on that last Cypher. They are running for that gate. They just need one survivor out of this game, and they are good to go.
Perfect timing for the borrowed time to be alive. And although the Seer was able to be hit by that Foggy Blade, it won't stop him because the Mercenary is currently opening the south gate. And I think the Magician is also opening the other gate right here for the versatility, but the Seer was actually hit due to the help of the Ripper's tangible wall hitting skill.
But ladies and gents, even with the Seer being rocketed out of there, it is a good done deal here for TC with one survivor off of the gate. That officially signals the victory for them. But nonetheless, great showing by the Lovers here. Really love how that Hunter was going about the game. But at the end of the day, we have the better team, and it was TC. But I really loved, I was literally on the edge of my seat just walking, just watching how that would have played out for the Lovers Hunter. Still a great game to have witnessed.
It was a good timing for the Magician to pop that Cypher because the Ripper was actually about to pick up the Survivor. But with the help of the borrowed time, it was really, really smooth enough. I have to repeat the word really because it was so smooth. It was a good timing, a perfect timing for the Magician to do that. But I like to point out a while ago, the blink and hit of the Ripper a while ago while the Mercenary was attempting to save the Seer. Although it wasn't able to hit the Mercenary, it was a good job to close in the gap between them. And the Mercenary, again, I would like to commend you with the same skin as well. It was a good job because even if the Ripper blinked and potentially wanted to target you, you were able to miss that shot and rescued the Seer in time. And the Seer, even though he knows that he's going to be skyrocketing to the manor when the Ripper caught him, it was a good sacrifice because he was able to buy time for the two members to escape. I have a lot to say because a lot happened so well. I'm fangirling again, guys. TC, kudos to you guys. And
Yes.
of course to lovers as well.
Yes, very well played out. Again, kudos for making it this far into the tournament. So, ladies and gents, it is coming down to the wire as we go along in this tournament. When we come back, yet another match coming your way. We have been your casters. I'm Mark Takuno,
And I'm Sayora.
and this is the Identity 5 NA and EU Summer Tournament. We'll catch you guys for match number 3. And our greetings to all detectives watching the Identity 5 NAE Summer Tournament. We are going to be your casters. I'm Arc Takuno.
And I'm Sayora.
And we have just pretty much reached our halfway point. We still have 2 more matches to go. And
Yes.
for this particular match, it is going to be Default versus Astra. Fangirl. Fangirl.
Yes. Hi. But you know,
Is that why you're wearing blue today?
yes.
Oh my
you know,
goodness.
okay. Let me just drop naive for a second. I'm gonna explain myself. This is my as you all guys know, this is my last day into casting Identity 5 NAU tournament.
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
So I have to look the part. So I opted for a doctor theme. Even though no one's using doctor because it's not in meta unless you go for survivors who need healing speed, right? So I opted for a
very
doctor.
nice get up. Very nice get
Thank you. Thank you. But yes, I have to look the part. I'm pretty feeling good today. And
Me too. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling pretty feeling good about myself.
yes, you do look good and you do feel good. Yeah.
Yeah. Out of the both of us, I'm probably the prettier one on this. No, just kidding.
Okay. okay, Mr.
Okay,
Pretty
okay,
Boy.
okay.
All right.
But
Okay.
nonetheless, guys, let's go ahead and give a quick
Mm-hmm.
rundown again as to how this tournament goes down for all our new detectives out there that are just tuning in to some competitive Identity 5 action.
Yes.
So I'll let you do the honors this time since, like you mentioned, it is your last day.
yes,
Savor the moment.
grinding on some announcements. Yes, and of course, for those detectives who are new out there, we're gonna have best of ones, single elimination. That means no bans, and each team gets to have a chance to be a hunter and a survivor. But before we talk about the quarterfinals, let's head on to our selection phase. And again, Default versus Astra. One of the most big clan names in this server. And for the first half, it's going to be Morningstar, as the hunter will be using the Ripper. For Team Astra, hi. Again,
Oh my God.
Mercenary, Seer, Enchantress. Oh, hi, John. And
Oh.
Perfumer. Yes, I am on a roll
You know
today.
what? Since you're gonna be fangirling over Astra, I'm gonna be the fanboy for Default
You
right
know,
now.
the thing is, I'm fangirling for both because
Really?
I've been watching the streams of the players of each side of the team.
Really?
And I'm really, really excited because, okay, we know that Astra has been getting a lot of attention, right? Because they are famous for their fellow players. But, yeah,
Yep.
I'm trying to be as composed as possible,
Sure.
okay?
Okay. I respect that.
But for Default, they have this needle in a haystack, there is something up their sleeve that you just cannot ignore, and I'm excited. I am looking forward for a very, very awesome game because these two teams are so, again, I'm fangirling, awesome. Yes.
Okay.
Did I say
I'll let
something
you
too much?
contain your fangirl feels right now because we're clearly seeing the trend. I mean, every now and then we see a little bit of a sprinkle of. We saw Clown
Yes.
earlier. I believe we saw Geisha the other day as well.
Yes, the first day.
Yeah,
Actually.
but other than that, things have been pretty constant with
The
Ripper,
yeah.
the Spider, sprinkle in some Dream Witch as
Yes.
well. And in this case, Morningstar, Hunter for Default, gonna be defaulting to this Ripper. Feel free to
I
roast
like-
me.
I
Feel free to
like-
roast me, chat. Feel free to roast me. I accept the roast for that really bad pun. But you know what? What other things are going to be roasting is once we head into this game. Once again, as I mentioned, Default on the Hunter side,
Ooh.
courtesy of Morningstar, along with Astra on the Survivor
Yes.
front.
And of course, again, for those who do not know, this map is called Lakeside Village. A pretty big map, if you ask me.
Oh, yeah.
And it's 100% sure that there is a survivor on this nearby seaside area. And that is a good start for Morningstar right here. And of course, if you saw the split screens, you saw the proper locations of each survivor on the side. And now Perfumer is the one being to eye out first here. Good job on doing that, Perfume. Gets an injury, but no
Oh, wait a
worry.
minute.
She manages to go back and to put down that pallet.
Yep, and off this perfumer goes. Gonna drop? Nope, not gonna be utilizing that pallet, but the gap is slowly closing. One more hit. Beautiful timing.
That is a good perfume done by that perfumer right there and manages to not get hit. But you know, yet we always say that presence is important for the hunter. And the hunter is doing a pretty good job because even if the perfumer is not injured, he can still get the presence that he needs by the perfumer doing so. And now finally the perfumer gets a hit, but still good job on buying time for other survivors here or who are pretty good job at priming those ciphers.
I want a whiff of whatever this perfumer is bringing because definitely bought quite a bit of time, but unfortunately will finally fall as the hunter will bring his first victim to the rocket ship.
But in exchange, 2 ciphers are down in the nick of time. Very good cipher rush priority for the side of Astra. And the perfumer being seated on the rocket chair and Morningstar here just going on the nearby areas to potentially see. Ooh, looks like he already eyed out Naib right there, the mercenary. And of course, mercenary known to be one of the main carriers, not really hesitating to use his elbow pads for the save, goes for that hit and rescues the perfumer successfully.
Yes, and off they go into the... Oh, wait a minute. Nice gap close right there coming in from Morningstar.
Yeah, it was a good, beautiful blink for that Ripper. But, you know, the Tide Turner with the help of Mercenary's Tide Turner there, the perfumer was able to buy time, but the Ripper is very, very nearby. And it's a good call because the moment that it was knocked down, okay, you are just going to sit right there, you know, just chill yourself out.
Yes, it looks like Mercenary already on the case, gonna be trying to go for his second rescue. But this is the tricky part right here for Perfumer because doesn't really have as much to utilize anymore as far as an efficient getaway. Really has to just simply rely on maybe body blocking coming in from the Mercenary.
And that is what he's doing right now, you know, just absorbing the hits so that the Perfumer can be rescued and go away to safety, because if the perfumer is seated once again, she's gonna go bye-bye right now. And that is what Astra is trying to prevent here. And Mercenary is doing a pretty good job in body blocking. But the Ripper, very aware of this, is just going and doing some timely Foggy Blades here. And goes for that knockdown again and hitting the perfumer in time. And the Enchantress here, I think she attempted to go for a stun, but unfortunately it wasn't pulled off right here. And actually it was pulled off just now.
Yes, but wait a minute. Mercenary is back up, gonna try to get that field on the perfumer, but the Terror Shock will pop up. One Cypher remaining. Can they get the proper timing on that? Of course, Dongjao already in the vicinity in place.
And you saw a while ago that was a good stun for the Enchantress, that right, they're just waiting for the perfumer or the mercenary to be picked up. But again, time is the limit. And the Enchantress here, oh, that was a double knockdown. And the Cypher machine was primed. It was popped. The borrowed time was already triggered. And that Ripper just swooping them off to the floor right here and getting that perfumer takedown. And again, the mercenary is on, the Enchantress rather, is on a way to the rocket chair again.
Talk about hitting 2 birds with 1 stone here for Morningstar, and already has that Enchantress strapped to a chair. Proceed, of course, lingering in this boat.
And we are seeing that the mercenary is trying his best to open the seaside gate, goes for the Foggy Blade, but wasn't able to hit, and teleports back to the Enchantress right here. Good reflexes for Morningstar.
Yes, indeed, and there you have it. Off they go. The question is, can they make it out? That is the big question right here. They already lost out on 1 survivor. Definitely want to get at least try to get all 3 out of there.
I see what's going on right here. As I mean, in my opinion, this is a good save for the Seer. And now the Mercenary and company will, Mercenary and Enchantress rather, will be opening the gates. And the Seer here is gonna do a pretty good darn time to buy time so that he could transition from one location to another while being in the nearby gate. And that is what he's doing right now. And the Mercenary just standing by.
And there we have it, ladies and gents.
Oh, looks like it's gonna be a 3 survivors who's gonna survive here because the Enchantress, if we look at the mini camera right here, is on her way to the cornfield gate. But here, again, the Seer doing a good job in buying some time. But the Ripper, he knows he has the tension. He can still clutch game, and that is what he's doing right here. He manages to get the Seer and is in a nearby rocket chair, and that is a good another victim take for the Ripper.
Yes, indeed. Enchantress looks like will make the escape, and it will be 2 out of 4 for both sides here.
Oh, I told you this was an
Ooh.
intense game. Intense game. Intense game. See, like what I tell you, I'm fangirling on both sides, and you can never really expect
Yep.
who's gonna win right here. And of course, this is a tie. If I'm not mistaken, Default has 2 points, right?
Yep.
So Team Astra has to have a clean sweep to be able to win this because we have no 4 points.
True.
So they have to make a clean sweep, and I am gonna make a guess right here. It's gonna be Blue Race Car who's gonna be the hunter. I just know it.
You know what I find interesting? I've been casting with you for the past 4 days. This is the most energetic I've ever seen you on this caster desk, Siora.
Well, you guys call me red-handed, you know, because it's
Our blue-handed.
Okay, I'm
Ooh.
blushing. I'm blushing right
Oh,
now.
God.
And I'm wearing blue. Anyway, okay, going back.
Yes.
I'm just really feeling good, and the intensity of the game is just, getting the best. Oh, sorry, Dave. It's getting the best of me because this is the first time we've seen a good 2 out of 4
Yeah.
chase.
Like, you were watching the Survivors. My eyes were just hell-bent and intent on focusing how Morningstar was going to play that out. And I'm a fan.
Told ya. I told you. Default is good at
Yep.
not being default, but being extraordinary. And I'm running out of puns here. Anyway, but this is not yet over for Team Astra because because this is a very unexpected game with 2 awesome clans clashing together, and it just gets the hype going.
I'd have to agree with you. This is something that we've been talking about, but I'm going to have to hold off because, okay, Siora, take a moment to breathe
All right, I'm breathing.
and explain.
Okay, so for the second half of the round number 2, we have Astra this time. Again, Blue Race Car is going to be the hunter and uses this so good reworked Feaster over here. If Grizzly was watching, he'd be a proud dad right now.
Oh
and
my
for the
God.
side of Default, of course, not really batting an eye right there. They will be having the Magician, the Seer, the Mechanic, and again, the Mercenary. So the main objective for Default here for them to have this sure win is to Cypher Rush, and the Mechanic is a very good character to utilize that. For again, the Magician, he's really a well-balanced character, although he's not really in the priority side. He's more of a comfort situational. I am good at this pick, and this is being used for a reason. And it means he has the good experience to use this Magician. And of course, let me end this by this Mercenary, again, the main rescuer, which is really essential because this Feaster right here, I think, will be eyeing out for either the Mechanic or the Seer. And
Yo.
what?
He'll be eyeing out because he only has one eye.
Oh, I'm gonna correct you right there. His other eyes are in his chest.
Oh, right. He
He
only
has
has that one
many
big eye along with the...
He has many eyes, but that big eye is for the Mechanic.
He's going to be... Never mind.
Nice
I'm gonna
try.
drop that pun right there
You
before
can
chat
like
just
drop
drills me any
it on the
further.
game.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop it like it's hot. But you know what else is coming in hot is our next round. Once again, it is now Astra on the hunter front with our survivors coming in from Default. Question is, can they default a victory into their... Oh my goodness, why did I fall into that? Can they bring a victory into their pocket?
See?
Well, Blue Race Card is taking all the way.
Looks like I'm not the one energetic right here, you know.
Yeah, it
You got
catches on,
into
it
the
catches
groove. And speaking of daddy, looks like the fall has a daddy in here, and that's the Seer. And going back, of course, Blue Race Car eyeing out for the daddy, goes for the vault, and waiting for the animation to just stop, and goes to that jump. Again, this is a good opportunity for Blue Race Car to sweep it off because this map is advantageous for him with the help of his tentacles lurking out in the shadow.
Yes, and looks like that owl will be coming up. Daddy trying to buy a bit of time, but Blue Race Car 53 just really raring to go here. You gotta love it.
Yeah, because when you say the word daddy, it's kind of like, you know, it sounds different. But again, Blue Race Car
It's all in your imagination.
taking advantage of the Seer in that wrong side of the palette. Terror shocks him down, and that is a pretty good start for Blue Race Car. But again, kudos to Daddy here for for actually buying good time for the other survivors to decode. And Blue Race Car will be, I think, placing
Yes.
his tentacles nearby so that he can roam around just enough time to get another target.
Yeah, this is what I love about hunters like this, where you have ways to go on the offense as well as a defense in this case. Once you have somebody strapped to that rocket chair, but there you go. As you said, Sior, the true mayhem, bringing on the mayhem. Gonna be trying to go for that save, but you gotta be careful.
Oh, that was a good fickle and a shizzle with the tentacle of Blue Race Car right there as he last efforts Daddy here. But again, with the help of the Tide Turner of the Mercenary, which is always equipped, buys time again for the Cypher Rush and just goes to the corner right here waiting to go down. But it's okay. Seer is just buying time, and that is what is currently essential for Team Default. Mercenary was knocked down, but it was good enough that he distanced himself away from Blue Race Car just so that he was not going to be seen and not going to be rocket chased.
Yes. The question is, Blue Race Car, is he gonna try to go for that mercenary this time around? Looks like he is already on the prowl, actually catching one of those puppets in the distance, working on the ciphers. 3 ciphers remaining, in which case, ladies and gentlemen, Seer won't be long of this road.
Yes.
Take note. So this is looking pretty dangerous here for Default, but they're getting some great work done nonetheless.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and see how they respond to this.
It's a good job for Blue Race Car to actually knock down that Mercenary because we all know that Mercenary is the main rescuer.
Yes.
And the mechanic here's main objective is to Cypher Rush because they cannot afford Blue Race Car to have this sweep because they want that sure victory. And the Magician was in a very far distance. That's why he wasn't able to heal the Mercenary as quick, but still manages to do it nonetheless. And now with Blue Race Car not hesitating to use his teleport, tries to get the Magician, but with the help of his wand, slightly bamboozled him there. And, you know, this is a good position to kite. And the Magician is transitioning from the good location one side to another. Again, uses that beautiful wand so he won't get hit, because the moment he's hit again, he's gonna be knocked down just like that.
Ooh, knocked down. He is. Dark Harknett will be going down. And look at all those tentacles in the vicinity.
so many calamari, if you ask
Oh
me.
my god. I love that you called it calamari.
Yes! So much calamari in the seaside right
Crunch,
here.
crunch.
Just good enough to guard down the Magician. And again, since the Mercenary is injured, the mechanic's decoding is debuffed tremendously. And that is a good position for her to save Darkheart over here, because that is the only option. If the mechanic chooses to decode, it's not going to be on their favor because, take note, they have 2 ciphers remaining. So the best option here is to save the Mercenary and heal the other members, which is what the Magician did off-cam. And they have to heal each other so that the mechanic can be of good use again when it comes to decoding the cipher.
This Feaster is having none of it, though, going straight for Darkheart, and it doesn't even give a care in the world on the other survivors. But wait a minute, actually, gonna be turning away to look for a different target. Looks like decided to switch it up here. We'll just go for the True Mayhem instead. Maybe no, we'll actually try to go for Carol here and work around this structure.
Yes, and oh, that was a good pallet down, but Blue Ray Scar was in the range to knock down this mechanic. And again, since the Mercenary is kind of tanky and takes time to actually self-heal, it's a good priority for Blue Ray Scar to sit down the mechanic first, because the mechanic's countdown is faster on a rocket chair compared with the Mercenary right here. And you know, utilizing this map, it has more rocket chairs in the area than it needs to be, and the distance is near, so Magician's gonna have a hard time to rescue, but this is about his priority. Magician is not going to neglect this. He knows that they have to make it a win and avoid the sweep as much as possible, and this is a good transition for him to go to the mechanics first.
Oh, man. Dark Heartnet already going to try to go for the save here. They can't lose out, and oh man.
Well, that is a recent turn of events, and of course, the team default surrendered, and that means it's a clean sweep for Astra. And if you're not gonna, if correct me if I'm wrong, Astra has 5 points now.
Quick maths.
I'm
yes,
not
5
good at math.
plus 2.
I'm not good at math. Don't
5 plus
don't
2
ask
for
me.
a total of 7.
Yay!
There you go.
So that means, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen and detectives,
Ladies and gentlemen and detectives.
you know, we gotta include them all. You know,
The non-detectives.
Yes,
Okay.
no, not really non-detectives. It's kind of long, so let's just say detectives.
Oh, God.
Team
Okay.
Astra wins this third intense, super awesome. I'm fangirling right here.
Oh, God.
Please notice me, senpais. Wow, match. But you know, like what I said, this is an intense game. I love it. I love the execution done by Team Default. You guys should really, you know, I don't want to be a judgmental person, but Team
Okay.
Default is too, you know, for their extraordinary moves, it's not a default. The name doesn't really match their gameplay because they're too awesome. But you know, it's gotta be a default for a reason, and I just really love them. But Astra's gonna, like what you said on the previous broadcast, Astra's gonna be a little happier here as they take that victory. And yeah, I'm already speaking so fast because I'm still fangirling him. I'm not gonna get over this because this is my last day, and being able to witness such amazing game with amazing people is just thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Of course, congratulations once again to Astra, but still great job as well coming from default right there. I'm really loving the games that we've been having today.
And I know you actually is also fanboying onto the Ripper. Morningstar, you said that a while ago.
Morningstar was pretty good. Morningstar was pretty good.
And yeah, he knows how to time his normal hits so much. No, I don't know how to say it in Italian or French.
Yes.
But,
So after, man, that
Woo,
I think
shivers on me too.
the last thing to say is with what Astra pulled off there, that calamari was slamming.
Calamari.
Literally
Yes.
slamming.
Calamari slamming on the jam.
I feel like we're going to have seafood after this.
Yes, we will before I actually leave.
Okay. So, thank you very much for tuning in. We still have one more match to go. We have been your casters. I'm Mark Takuno.
And I'm Sayora.
And this is the Identity 5 NAEU Summer Tournament. We'll catch you guys in a Team 9 event. Stay tuned, detectives.
Poo, poo.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Identity 5 NAEU Summer Tournament. We are going to be your casters. I'm Articuno.
And I'm Doctor. Seora. Sorry. What?
Okay, trivia. If you could remember, what's the doctor's real name?
Emily.
Dang! Good job. You did your homework.
Of course I do.
Okay.
Well.
So earlier during the break, me and Ciora were actually talking about how we're actually happy about the fact that a lot of people are using the spring hand skin for
the
mercenary,
naive skin.
which we have right here.
Uh-huh. Like, there are lots of good mercenary skins, and I'm surprised that they highlighted this one. You guys must really like the plushie of Articuno right here. But
I feel like I'm gonna have to put like a missing
border.
sign sometime soon.
yeah, you're gonna use Mad Eyes to put gates right here.
Also, before we head into this next match, we'd also like to give a quick shout out to everybody that is active in chat right now. We appreciate you guys for joining us, and thank you so much for interacting and for all the love.
Yes,
for
this
all
is
the
such
love.
a very positive community. I'm
Yeah.
really
And we're not just
happy.
saying it, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
I've casted a lot of games. I'm not going to mention which
Same,
games,
yeah.
but yeah, Identity 5 community is one of the warmest out there. Welcoming as well as very helpful, in fact.
Yes.
Especially for the newer detectives which want insights, which is why I really appreciate the effort that a lot of you players have been doing in form of streaming or content creation, or even just through, let's say, Discord channels where
Yes.
people discuss, or whenever you need tips on what to do, how to go about a certain hunter or survivor, there's always someone that is willing to share their expertise. So
Yeah.
thank you very much.
I can vouch for that because I'm joining Persuadables Discord and Blu-ray Scar. Oh, by the way, guys, did you guys see if Blu-ray Scar noticed me? Can you guys
God.
tell me if he noticed? Because I'm a happy person if that happens right here. Articuno's just during off stream he was really cringing at me because, girl, you are fangirling so much, and I'm like, I can't help it. It's blue we're talking about. I'm wearing blue, for crying out loud, you know? And I'm sorry, Naive. I must probably be strangling you right now. But yeah, do tell me if he noticed me though, because I'm really, really honored if ever. Yeah, looks like Articuno's been cringing at me right now. So let's go back to the game, and this time, why don't you introduce again the tournament format?
Okay. Finally, we're done with the fangirling. So, ladies and gentlemen, for our Identity 5 NAEU Summer Tournament, we're currently playing it on a single elimination. The matches that we've had thus far are best of ones, but once we hit those major matches, it will transition into bigger best of threes, which will leave more room for these teams to strategize because it does introduce the banning phase. But yes, sir, I am loving this. You know what? Ciora, why don't you break down what we have in the drafting right now, because we have a very new face here.
Yeah, gladly.
At least in this tournament.
For the broadcast, of course. And we are going to see the last match between No Fear Squad and Boy, if that's how you pronounce it here.
God.
And for the first half, No Fear Squad is going to be the hunter here. And again, I think we've seen Feaster Calamari rampages right here. And for the side of Boy, we have the Prospector, the Priestess, and looky here. Looks like we have a new face, the Acrobat, and finally the Perfumer. So, guys, you already know the mechanics about the Prospector here being a very good potential, well-balanced kiter, rescuer, and of course decoder as well. And he also helps in delaying the time of pickup, especially if the magnets are properly placed. For the side of Priestess, again, she has a good global portal that can be beneficial to all of the survivors, and for rescuing potential as well. For the Perfumer, you guys already know this girl is good for playing mind games, especially with her immersed state. So this is going to be challenging because she'll be facing a Feaster, and Feaster is known for that all calamari right here, which can initially hit her in her immersed body, and when she comes back, he'll hit her hard with his own tentacle. And again, like what Articuno said, we have a new face.
Yes.
The Acrobat. And you guys already know this Acrobat, a juggler with 3 different types of bombs with who knows what and when he'll use it. But you know, it's And if used correctly, this acrobat is dangerous with the calamari. Especially it can go fried with his burning bomb there.
Do you have to make me hungry this broadcast, Sierra?
It's seafood, you know.
Exactly.
And that's a good way to start the day right here because we are seeing Feaster games here.
Actually
And-
interested in hearing out. So, as we mentioned, a lot of active people in the chat. What are your thoughts on what Boy is bringing to the table here, particularly for Kinesto? Kinesto or Kinesto?
Kinesto, I think, but I think they would correct me on the
Yeah.
live chat right
We'd
here.
appreciate it, guys.
This acrobat, like what I said earlier, is dangerous if the bombs are used correctly. If, example, the pickups are, for example, the Feaster picks up a survivor. Then this acrobat timely places the bomb. That is a potential threat to the Feaster right here. But at the same time, this acrobat is mainly a fundamental character. But you know, it clearly depends. This is a new face in the broadcast wise. So we just have to see how the player will be able to execute this specific character properly.
And what's interesting is that for this acrobat, there's a lot of factors that you have to take
Consider.
into consideration as far as the external traits. But
Ooh.
you know what? Nonetheless, we're going to have to see how that plays out. Love the shakeup right here.
Yeah.
But it really comes down to execution at the end of the day. So come on, because it is now round one for our last match of the day. Once again, it is No Fear Squad on the Hunter side versus Boy on the Survivor side. Let's go ahead and see if they could bring it on
Yep.
into the map we go.
Truly, and we are seeing some good starts here. The Feaster on the way to the shack side. The Prospector just nearby, just moving off that code and Cypher. And the Priestess, if we saw a while ago on the split screen, was on the statue side. And now we are witnessing that the Feaster has his eyes on the prize. Mufin here just doing a good job making the distance farther with the help of his magnets. And of course, you know you have to transition from one location to another. And this is, so far so good, is done very beautifully by the Feaster.
Yes, and it looks like already on the trail. Ooh,
Whoa.
circle around right there. Theo will be held down right now, but he will be just fine. Transitions quite easily. Not really that much lost ground here just yet. Really intent on pursuing zombie trash here.
Yep. And I like the way where he places his tentacles right here to give pressure to the Priestess, and pressure indeed as he terror shocks this Priestess. I love that combo. He hit it with his normal hit, goes to the tentacle radar, and bam, you got Calamari.
Oh my goodness, the calamari keeps coming
Yes.
on. But yeah, first target already down, and look at this view of spawning out Uranium just within the vicinity. But
Ooh.
actually playing it a bit more safer, making sure that he has Zombie Trash well guarded on the defensive front for Feaster.
Yes, definitely. And we saw the Perfumer a while ago. I think she thought that the Feaster was on his way and used that perfume a little too early. But again, the Prospector did a good job in rescuing the Priestess with the help of the Tide Turner and the Repel to further away the gap away from the Priestess. But the last effort has been triggered. This is looking so good for the Priestess because she's just distancing away herself from the other members to decode. Just good chitin, but you know, the last effort is already there. And she's going to be rocket chaired again for the second time. The Feaster is good here because he doesn't want to waste time. And when he sees his target, he does not hesitate to use his tentacle radars and to just hit that with, you know, with much precision.
Dio definitely getting a lot of work done here. Time managed quite efficiently to think about just how much he's managed to do in pursuit of this Priestess. But of course, so goes the flip side here for the Survivors, who have actually gotten 2 Cyphers down already. Movement already working on this one. But of course, with Dio in his presence, heart beaten, the chase is on.
Yes, but the Perfumer's doing a good job decoding while the Prospector is buying time for him. And again, the Feaster was able to get the magnet, but with the help of the Calamari tentacle over there, with a good job, just precise hits with the calamari, goes for the terror shock, and finally sitting down on the rocket chair. But up to what exchange, Articuno? They have two ciphers remaining. The acrobat is still there as well as the perfumer. And these two characters are pretty good for rescuing.
Okay, speaking of rescue, and that's exactly what this acrobat managed to pull off right now. Two ciphers remaining at this point. Perfumer just really hell-bent and intent on making sure that more of these ciphers are propped and ready. They already lost out on one survivor. Definitely don't want to lose out on any more whatsoever. Movement going to be using some crowd control here to hold down Dio, but Dio pretty much still on the chase, not going to deter him whatsoever.
Yes, and if we didn't see it on camera, but I heard the knockdown, and it just means that the acrobat was knocked down by the calamari, but Mufin here just moving his way out to the kiting areas, transitioning from the sides to the pallets, and eventually I think he would go to the hospital. But looky here, Dio. Look, it's like a JoJo reference right here. He's doing a good job just targeting Mufin here, and he knows that this is essential because he wants that takedown.
Yes, and there goes strapped onto the rocket chair here. Now this is where
that's
things
that's Grizzly's song.
all the which one?
Like Survivor on a rocket.
Oh my god!
You just sang it, dude.
I fell right into that now,
Yes,
didn't
the groove is on.
I? Oof. But here you go, Rainium. Oh, Rainium gonna be going for the save this time. Is still quite healthy, so can spare a hit if needed. Circling around, there you go. Mufin is off that rocket chair once again, and they are on the run. Two ciphers remain, probably ciphers which have already been prepped by Rainium, in which case. So it really comes down to how well they play their cards within these next few minutes of the game, because things are coming down. All three survivors already taken a hit. So it's very crucial that they don't fall to Dio at this point, especially Mufin, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
because strike 3 and he's going to be out.
Yes, truly. And I like the way that the Feaster places his calamari tentacle onto the kiting area a while ago to narrow down the options for kiting once again for both the perfumer and the prospector. But the prospector here, despite being injured and was safe for the second time, is doing a good job kiting and buying time for the other members, which is really exemplary because, you know, each kiter's role is to take the time as much as possible without getting hit. Because you mentioned that when he's seated once more, he's gonna be KO, and that is what happened because again, the tentacle radar is just so OP that this Feaster is just hitting him with that tentacle, and that's the second takedown for the side of No Fear Squad. And here we can see that the Feaster is just lurking and looking for potential ciphers that are shaking. And it was a good reflexes for the, if I'm not sure if it was the perfumer or the acrobat was there, but it was a good choice that they went away to that cipher to go to safety because both of them are injured. With one hit of that tentacle, they could be in great danger.
Yeah, speaking of danger though, Dio already finding this acrobat. Of course, acrobat very, very dangerous. These tentacles just hitting left and right. Dio is having a ball this game.
Yes, he's maximizing all those tentacles, using it into his advantage, and knowing that this map is small, the tentacles have this wide range to actually hit the survivors. And of course the perfumer here, he's doing a good job, just keep on ciphering here since he needs to prime this.
Yes.
But I think he's already did it enough, and the main objective is to get it, but he was trying to hide, but the Feaster suddenly sees his features right there crawling, and now the perfumer's job is to kite away and tap the acrobat and save him potentially.
Oh man, this is tricky though because it's like you're being pinstered in constantly in the midst of these chase. Once you think you're in the clear towards a certain direction, you're gonna get blocked by a tentacle, but oh no, Rainium gonna be falling in the hands of the No Fear Squad. Hunter and Dio just gonna be very happy with himself. All 4 survivors down for the count, and this will mean a perfect 5 points that'll go to NFS. Great start to this final match for them.
Oh, this is the last game, but you know, this is really intense because the feaster took his time. He was very patient, and he knows when to hit those survivors with that calamari. And I think that feaster is also hungry for that sweep, and he manages to eat them all up. But I like to give kudos to the team boy, because boy, you guys kited so well. I know you're cringing right now, but boy, boy, you guys are such good kiters. You know, and you guys are you took guts for them to bring a new face to this broadcast.
Yeah,
It's true, and I love it.
I'm all about these players that like to bring something interesting to the table that makes this broadcast all the more better for us, not only as casters but also to our spectators watching the tournament as well. So just really well played out here, and it's coming down to the wire. So win conditions, since it is a 5 points that NFS has gotten, we have to look for a tiebreaker.
Yes, this
from
is
the
similar
opposition.
from the previous match. It's the difference here is just the sweep happened on the second game, and for this one, the sweep happened on the first half of their round.
Yes.
And the best thing that the boys have to do is to make that sweep as well. And if they made it, if they make that sweep, if they caught all the No Fear squad 4/4, it's gonna be a tiebreaker.
Yes.
It's a tiebreaker.
I am waiting for. I mean, of course, for those supporting NFS, they don't want the tiebreaker to
Yes.
happen anymore. But as far as a spectator, you know, you definitely want more games. So people would hope for that tiebreaker to happen. But again, we're in the scenario where 5 points, because of that 1 point incentive, it's so hard
Yeah,
to
it's really crucial.
reach out to them.
Yeah, you gotta take it to the next level. Because the point is on a next level. Instead of having 4 points, you get an additional 1. So you get 5. And this, I don't want to break the ice though, but guys, this is how the point system works. Team Boy has to take it up a notch because the pressure is on with them. Knowing that No Fear Squad has the complete sweep, they could potentially be the winners if Team Boy wasn't able to get that sweep. But at the same time, like what we always say, this is already intense enough. And what we always say, everything is unexpected. Maybe Team Boy would actually get that beautiful sweep and goes for a tie, and I can't wait because
Neither can I, definitely.
I can cast one more time. Just grinding everything that I can with the remaining hours that I have. Yeah, I'm crying. So did they notice me, guys? Hi, Schmitty. Hi,
Oh,
boy. I'm crying.
I'm not gonna miss you.
I already know that. That's why I'm
I'm kidding, of
I'm
course.
releasing my inner energy to
Yes.
them
But-
because you won't miss me when I'm gone. Oh wait, that's a
You're
song.
gonna miss me when I'm gone.
Cup song. Yeah.
Oh, God. So I fell into that once again, but oh boy.
Oh boy, getting another new face right here. Again, let me just do the honors of running this down,
Okay.
Articuno, because Team Boy is going to be the hunter side. We'll be using the photographer. Yes, Joseph, baby. Naib's right here. And for the side of No Fear Squad, they will go all out, as they will have the coordinator, the prospector, the perfumer, and a new face as well. Hello to you, my main female dancer on the roll.
Yes.
Yes, and I like the way that they chose this female dancer because it compensates the current decoding speed of the other two survivors, particularly the prospector and the coordinator, because they are more on the defensive kiting and rescuing side. So with the help of the fast music box of this female dancer, this could actually increase their decoding speed. At the same time, depending on the boxes that this female dancer will be putting down on the battlefield, this is a good plus for the other survivors who are going to kite, because the fast box can give them movement speed. The slow box can grant slow movement to the hunter. But at the same time with the survivors as well, but it's more beneficial for the survivor part, depending
Indeed.
again on what the dancer will be dropping.
I am really interested in
This is a
seeing
nice
how
last
this plays. Yeah, this last match has been having its fair share of
Yes.
twists and turns. You know,
This is like the plot twist.
not a bad way to end this weekend if you think about it.
Yes. You know, they're giving me a very welcoming farewell here.
Oh,
as-
welcoming farewell.
Yes. Oh,
How?
yeah. It's a new word for me because even though I'm saying bye bye, they are giving us a good, brand new, hello to you, new faces kind of draft here. And I'm really excited because it just happened on the first half of the game. They pulled out an acrobat, and that was, you know, I'm really touched because they know how to play these stuffs, and I'm here stuck on a female dancer. But as that was going on my mind, looky here, No Fear Squad using my main, and I'm like, okay, guys, come on, let's get the show on the road.
Oh
Beautiful.
my goodness.
Yeah.
This is gonna be quite the conclusion
Yes.
to this day. But of course, once again, while we're heading into the game right now, the big question here for our audience is, can No Fear Squad dance their way into the next round? Or will the Hunter Mufin bring the blaze out?
Oh, wow, I like that. I also want to add a fun right there when you said that No Fear Squad's gonna dance their way out. I would like to add if the photographer can smile through their boys in the camera.
God.
And of course, speaking of that camera, Mufin here just
Yes.
took a picture of them and looking for the steady survivors lurking out and about. And this is a good way to start because photographer's kit has two different worlds. And oops, looky here, looks like April is going to be spotted by the Mufin and the Jufin because he's got injured by that, you know, kiting area. And this is good. And okay, the magnet's going to be used. I think he's going to go for the repel, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
But looks like still on the chase, in which case. And oh man, love the
Ooh.
use of the crowd control right there to buy time. And of course, April Ice going to be transitioning to the other side of the building. Goron is actually there as well. So buying some pretty good time. And look at this, Allison Lott as well as Nico
Yeah.
duo working on a cipher here.
Yes, and that means that the dancer is decoding alone, but looky here, while the prospector is utilizing the kiting area, Mufin here just abusing his hitbox, manages to knock down the prospector. And looky here, what a lucky day. He is near a rocket chair, so the struggling is struggles. And for the side of the survivors, rather, this is a good opportunity for them to rescue the prospector as early as possible because they would still be targeting that second chair survival. For the prospector uses that flare gun even when injured, goes for the save, and that was a good flare gun for the coordinator, knowing that the photographer does not have excitement to actually stop it. But the last effort was used, but you gotta take note of the tide turner. The tide turner is the one that buys the time. While the coordinator goes away to safety, this is a good discipline for the prospector as he lures away the photographer to the coordinator.
So here we go. Coordinator is down, in which case, but Mufin not going to be deterred by chasing down this prospector. Enough is enough for him. It looks like that will be the attachment. Let's see how this goes down.
Correction, ladies and gents and detectives. He has excitement. He just decided not to use it a while ago. And again, abusing that hitbox. Look at that movement speed from the photographer. Again, knocks down the prospector. And correct me if I'm wrong, this is his second time to be seated. And the photographer is like, come on, dude, you rest for a while. I'll just go with the other survivors. You just rest there, okay? And taking advantage of this, the coordinator is injured, so there's no other shot at this but to let the perfumer rescue the prospector. But take note, Mufin already mounted the camera and activated the mirror world, meaning that their mirror images are stay put. And that is a good target for Mufin. But like what I said, the perfumer rescues the prospector.
Yeah, lots of multitasking here for Mufin, in which case, but then again, the good thing for him, the consolation, strike 3 on this, on April Ice, and pretty much out.
Yes, and again, April Ice still if you guys are wondering why the prospector is staying at the hospital, because the hospital is the strongest kiting area in the map. All he needs to do is just bamboozle Mufin here to just go and buy some time. And he's doing a pretty good job because there are 2 ciphers remaining for the side of No Fear squad. And Mufin here, he is aware of that. But you know, Mufin says it's better for me to have a kill than not at all. And that is what he's doing, because if, like what you said, Articuno, if the prospector is seated on a chair, he's gonna go bye-bye.
Yes, but you have to take note, the bigger issue here is that if Boy wants to stay in the game, if they want to stay in this tournament, they have to pull off the 4 survivor takedown, but it's such a tall order at this point, considering that there is only 1 cipher remaining.
Yes.
It has been pretty preoccupied with this prospector, but still a great effort nonetheless. But the bigger question here is whether or not that win condition, or rather tie-breaking condition, can be fulfilled.
Which is possible, because let's say that the cipher here is popped in prime. Mufin can still do the clutch gaming here because he's gonna have that tension. Again, but going back, let's not go any further right there. We can see that Mufin's doing a good job destroying the boxes that the dancer has to offer. And even though that we're not seeing much of a limelight for the dancer, she is going on the sidelines by decoding. And April Eyes here, again, knowing the dangers that lurk, tries to lure here Mamue, but Mufin here is aware of the risk. And now he's just getting here, like what I told you earlier, clutching the game by one-hitting the other members, and that's what happened just now.
Oh man, Goron falling down, but I have to take a quick moment there. I mean, Persona 5 skin, always love seeing that.
I have it too. Anyway.
Oh, man, I don't have it.
Okay,
have
but
single
onto
point.
the split screen, we
Oh,
are seeing
man.
that the perfumer and the prospector was able to open the shack gate and just waiting for the potential rescue, because they're not yet going out. If not rescue, they're just waiting for Allison to go into their sides. And Mufin knows this better. So he's on his way to the shack gate, you know, just get in as much as possible. But unfortunately, ladies and gents, he wasn't able to make it. And this is a 3 survived survivors for the side of No Fear squad.
And with that said, that will effectively push our points 1 point here
Yes.
for our for
I'm not good at math, so you do
for
it.
hunters.
Yes.
For the hunter side, and math, man.
I'm not good at math, but
Me neither.
if I'm
5
not
plus 3,
mistake-
8 points for the
okay.
hunter front.
Oh wow, I got that right. I'm a mathematician-ish that
Yeah,
only knows
sure.
how to add and
Sure.
subtract.
Since it's your last day, I'll let you have that.
Is that common courtesy, my friend?
It's more like forced courtesy, but sure. No, just kidding.
You see, guys, this is the reason why I'm channeling all my energy to
Mm.
you, because he doesn't like me right now.
That is not true.
Really?
You said, I don't like you right now. I don't like you all the time. Just kidding. I'm kidding.
He
I'm kidding. I'm
is a
kidding.
bully. He is a bully, you know? He's just taking his
No,
time.
no. You know, I'm proud of you that we get to cast together
Aw,
right
but
here.
deep inside, he's cringing like, oh, come on, girl.
Totally.
You go out of here. But yes, I would like to take this moment, you know, to thank
Yes,
you,
of course.
everyone, for the warm welcome, because this is my first time during week 1 of day
Yes.
1. That was my very first time on my Identity V journey, and it was a blast because you guys, with your positive comments, really reinforced me and motivated me more to become a better caster. And I would just love to thank you guys, and thank you too to Persuadable and Grizzly for noticing me, and Blu-ray Scar, please notice me again, because yeah, I'm just really, just grinding everything right here. I'ma cry. But I hope to see you guys soon, and pray that we'll be seeing again each other for various tournaments of Identity V. And of course, thank you so much, Articuno, for letting me have Mercenary right here, even though it's just a short time, and for being with you as my co-caster. You're such a great caster to be with.
I know. No, just kidding. No, it's been a pleasure, definitely. It has definitely been a pleasure. And
Thank you.
What's also a pleasure is No Fear Squad going to be
Yes.
transitioned to the next round. I'd also like to give a shout out to Boy for playing their hearts out. They're not just Boy, but all the teams that played out today. This is probably my favorite day so far.
Yes.
I would have to hold off though from how it'll go on over the next days because, like I said, competition's gonna get all the more intense. So a lot of these games moving forward are gonna be quite the pleasure to look forward
Yes.
to.
And looking forward too because you guys are gonna be with Persuable and the #1 IDV YouTuber to assert his dominance and importance to the world. Hi to you, Gaming Grizzly. I will be doing the intros to you right now in advance because I'm excited for you guys.
I am amazed that you managed to remember that full comment from yesterday.
Because it really stuck to me because he's already an important guy in the IDV community. You
Great
know?
guy, great
So
guys.
much. Also persuadable. And I'm actually low-key shipping them.
Oh my god. Well, I mean, a lot of people do
Yeah,
after
they
COE
do.
too. So,
Yeah.
also, I'd like to take this opportunity before we sign off to give
Better
a shout
pastures.
out to no to our yeah to Better Pastures
Better pastures.
next week with Persuadable and Grizzly. No, I'd also like to give a shout out once again to all the active detectives in our chat and. Ciora, of course, has been
Yes.
mentioning, who she's a fan of. I personally would like to give a shout out to the content creators as well as streamers. Please do reach out to me. I'd love to check out your content from any in EU. I mean, everybody's welcome to send other content to not literally send the links to your channels, of course, or pages wherever you put your stuff out. I would love to check them out. Would love to see more stuff from the community. Let's all work together
Yes.
to spread the love,
Spread the love.
spread the content, spread all the
Yes.
effort from all our peeps out there. So thank you again. And I guess we
Articuno
have-
best boy, guys. So you gotta go get him. You gotta
Yeah,
go
but-
and be in touch with him and get all those bondings.
Yeah, but clearly your best boys are the other content creators who've been fangirling over these past days. Okay, I'm gonna end it right here. Thank you again, guys. We have been your casters. I'm Mark Takuno.
And I'm Ciara.
And we will catch you again next week for some more Identity 5 action here at the IDV NAEU Summer Tournament. But for the meantime, have a great week, guys.
Pew, pew, pew.